Welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad that we're here. You get to meet a friend of mine. Her name is Stevie Lee. Stevie, how long have you been running an NDIS business?
I have been running an NDIS business probably for about 13 months. Yeah, not very long. Yes.
That's impressive. And so what have you achieved in 13 months?
I would say we've achieved so many goals. Learning how to be a businesswoman has definitely been the hardest thing. Um, Learning how to be profitable, but also still do the things that we need to be doing in sales. So, um, just that fine balance coming from a background of community services, child protection, domestic violence, and being an operations manager for a previous company, SEAL company. But then actually coming into this space and running my own thing has been probably the biggest thing. Lots of hurdles, but it's super exciting. Lots of growth. We wanted to be a small, tiny provider. While still niche, the word has gotten around and we're doing amazing and getting referrals all the time, some that we have to say no to. So, finding what we can service and what we can't service. Yeah.
I'm loving hearing this because it's like the good news story. I feel like we're back in 2023 when life was easy in NDIS. And it is easy for you because you're good at your craft. Okay. So I can see that you've made it look easy, but you haven't made it look easy because you're in an environment of easiness. And it's not because your location is easy. Heck, you got a very competitive location. It's because you're just good at what you do. So I'm hoping today people can learn what are the things that you do so well that people can't help but talk about you. Like, what do you do well?
I think for me, it comes from a passion. So I love what I do and I love helping people. My background's social justice. So I do people well, I do connecting well, and I do making things happen well. So for participants who are actually coming in, they're getting everything that SEAL's designed for. They're not getting a hotel model. They're not getting a we'll do everything for you. You just call out, we'll just run around you. We actually do. So what we're doing is we're actually sitting with participants. We're talking about their goals. We're talking about them every week. And we're going, what's working well in this house? What's not working well? Where would you like to go next week? Where would you like to be in a fortnight from now? How can we get you there? And then we break them down into little steps. And what that means is our support workers have KPIs and our team leaders have KPIs. And that's not in let's see how many people we can bring in and tick boxes and make money, because that's not what we do. We actually work out what it is we need to do for our participants so that they can actually get the most out of their plan, out of the supports they get, and out of their home. So they will actually implement from those meetings. They'll be able to see what they need to be working on, what needs to be filtered down to the support workers, and how they can actually make change every day in their lives and contribute to those goals and those steps to making sure that the participants are actually getting the most bang for their buck, really, and living their best life. So it's really about being held accountable because we are working with people. We are in this people space. This is not just about money, filling houses. This is about actually doing a good job. And I guess that's why people want to come to us, because that's what we do.
Wow. Okay. So if we rewind a bit, you have KPIs, which are very deliberate about, which you're checking things every week about. And your KPIs are all about is each participant getting this and this and this and this. They're not about billable hours. They're not about how staff are spending their time. They're about is what the participant needs matching what they're being delivered. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so basically we'll sit down at the end of the week or two, depending on how long it takes them to get there. Is this working? Is this not working? What got in the way? If it is working, sorry, tick a box. Fantastic. We move on to the next one. So by the end of the month, they have a whole heap of goals they've achieved. By the time they're up for review, they can actually demonstrate with this support, this is what they've been able to achieve. If we continue to support this, 2 years down the track, they may be living independently. They may be living in independent living options instead of SIL. This is what the NDIS is set up for. We're not about going, okay, we need to keep this person in SIL forever because we need to make money. It's about let's actually create change in these people's lives and actually get them to where they need to be and see them actually do well. If we can get them out into ILO, or even better, get them out into their own properties with the skills that we've been able to teach, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's the
Okay.
goal.
Cool. it's more than a goal. It's just brilliant. Now, I first met you when you just started. Okay. And I remember thinking back then, far out, she's smart, but you had this tiny scale, but you knew what you were going to build. How on earth did you go from we've just started to, wow, look at all we're doing now in just 13 months? I find that hard to believe. What are the specific steps that you took that others can learn from?
So for me, I never set up to do or have a business. It just happened to be that it happened. So I only wanted one property, and I was like, you know what, this is going to be great. And that property ran so well. And then from there, I realized, okay, I'm actually in this property all the time. I spent 8 months in that property, and I actually needed self-development for myself as a businesswoman. So I reached out to Paul Bryan, who helped me get on top of this. And he actually said, you need to have a few houses. For me, that was an eye opener, but that's what we need to be able to continue to support the participants. We obviously, if you don't have profit, then you don't have a business. So we needed to be able to make this sustainable for everybody. So what that meant was we've gone from one house all of a sudden doing great things. People got wind of it. I don't know, but from December, I think it was even January to March, we exploded. We went from one house to 5 houses. And then so much we had to scale back a little bit to actually get the structure right so we could keep that amazing quality work that we were doing. That's just what happened. I don't know. It's just good work, good support workers, KPIs, and actually giving a damn about what we're doing and not going, we're just going to be massive. We need to be viable, but we need to do things smart. So the systems need to catch up. And so we're back down to 4 properties now. And we have closed our books, which will open again soon once the systems catch up and we're smooth sailing again. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's so cool. And I'm so happy to hear that someone who was about 7 or 8 months into their journey was getting coaching from someone like Paul Bryan. Because when you look at how many years of experience he's got and how many dozens of people he supports, why would you learn stuff the hard way? Now, why do you imagine? Yeah, like that. It makes no sense, does it? What is your best guess of why he said, one still house is not going to help you in the long term? Why do you think he said we need some more scale? What are the benefits of a bit of scale in Sil?
So for me, I was working for 8 months straight in the seal, trying to get ratios up. It's a very hard industry when you want to do the right thing. But for me, I needed to focus on myself in order to be available. So I was burning out, going, I don't know how much longer I can do this for. And I have 3 children at home. And I wasn't getting home to do the things I needed to do, but I was trying to keep on top of everything. But we were starting to grow. The word was getting out. We were getting bigger. I needed time to actually reflect, get a decent sleep to be able to upskill up the support staff, be able to be present for my clients and my family. So I guess that's kind of what happened there. And you can't, if a client goes, for example, or something happens, funding cut, that's the NDIS. These things are real, these things happen. It meant that if we had 2 other properties, we would be able to leverage off. If someone left, then we would be okay with the 3 properties. We'd be able to manage without going, we have to close houses down. So it's about being viable, having enough money in there to be able to put the workers through training, be able to self-develop, be able to, for myself to be able to get the support from Paul and the support from you, Michael, as well. Like this is why we need to be viable, and this is why we need to be upscaling to a point that's sustainable.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And again, that's hitting that area of profit is a dirty word. If you're a support worker, if you're a support coordinator, if you're someone who just doesn't live in the realms that you live in, it's like the reality is without profit, you have untrained staff. Without profit, someone leaves your home and you shut down a home. Profit is the thing that makes everything work.
Yeah, and if you have profit, you can't pay for your workers' insurance, your workers' comp insurance. That's going to send you bankrupt if someone has a claim that you can't pay. That will just see the whole business go under.
Yeah, like we need profit, and we also need to change the conversation around profit too. We need a healthy profit so that we can stay in the game, we can serve people, we can continue to grow.
Yeah.
What have been some of the hurdles? Oh, didn't mean to speak over you. What were you going to say there?
Oh, no. I was just going to say, like, even in terms of the participants living their best life, so we don't we don't charge what other providers are charging for board and lodgings so that they can go out and do activities and still do things without, like, on the outside of the home. Kilometers, we've tried to suck up and absorb that cost because not all clients have kilometers. So we try and do day trips together in a work vehicle and take people out to low cost free activities. So, we've had to make cuts there, but meaning we needed to scale and see profit elsewhere in order for that to happen. Otherwise, none of this would be viable.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you live out of the fact that you want to serve people. You also live out of the fact of the dollars say you can serve people in these ways, but these other ways, we're not taking people to Disneyland. That's not happening. Here's what we can do. That makes sense. And then it hasn't all been smooth sailing. It's been really tough. You just talked before about how it was for you living in a still house to look after ratios while your other half and your kids are at home, and you're like, what's going on? And you felt like, I'm not developing me. You even used the word burnout. What was tricky? What do we learn from that?
Um, for me, I had literally become pure living. So I started identifying as my business. And I started losing that connection with my husband, and I started creating that distance between my children. And that was really, really hard. That was the toughest thing. And if anyone said to me now, if you had to go back and start all again, I would say no. Because they were some huge sacrifices made. 8 months, Ubering dinners to my family and not being present. It was hard. Yes, the rewards have come, and I love serving, and I love my participants, and I love my workers. But if I can't fill my own cup, I can't fill others.
That is remarkably honest. And I don't know many business owners in this industry who are not working too many hours or feeling like I'm sitting at home with my family. Oh crap, the phone's ringing. What is it? Oh no, okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Like, it really can kill your family life. And I don't want on my tombstone to say he was really good at his work. That would suck. What's going through your head, Stevie?
It's hard. And look, I still carry around 3 phones. I'm not going to lie. I still carry around 3 phones. We'll still have staffing issues, and we're getting better. We're streamlining. We're getting systems in place. We've just onboarded systems. We've got new systems in place. Like, it's amazing the work that's happening. But we had started from a very small model without the infrastructure because my plan was never to grow. And now we're catching up with the infrastructure because I still want that quality of work. So yes, we have referrals coming to us. Yes, I could open up 21 homes. No, that's not what I'm going to do because I want every home to hold that quality. If it doesn't have the quality, then none of this is worth it because this is not what I set up to do.
It makes perfect sense. What are some other things that you feel like when you say, if you had to do it again, would you do it again? And you're like, probably not. Okay. Like, what are the other factors that cause you to say, probably not?
I think financially, it's also you put so much into something when you start a business financially. You also start off, you can't pay yourself, but you've got to try and work out how you're going to pay staff to kind of come in and help you. I think that's probably the biggest thing. I've always come from a background of people and helping and supporting people, but I've never actually had to carry the financial risks. I think as a business owner, every day you're sitting there going, how can I make this work? Is this going to be viable? You're playing with numbers. I'm really bad at numbers. I need to hire people for that now. When you've got pay runs that start off at $7,000 that I'm doing manually, going up to $57,000 doing them manually, it's all in and out, lots of moving money around. It's scary. It's so scary, but that's the risk you take as a business owner. But you're also taking that accountability as well. So if you have staff not doing the right thing, if you don't put the training in place and something goes wrong, that's on me. I can get into big trouble for that. So there's a lot more accountability held to me, and I've got a family. I need to make sure the right things are happening because they need their mum. Yeah. So there was lots of factors.
I hear you. And the thing is, all of us sacrifice hard in the early days. All of us. I don't know anyone who doesn't. The thing is, if I was sacrificing for a month, for 6 months, maybe for 12 months, but there comes a point at which you will lose your marriage or you will lose your relationship with your kids as they're coming into an age where it really starts to matter. And so what would be the things that you put in place in your family so that you don't lose the things that actually matter while you're pursuing trying to serve people? What have you done in your family?
So for my family, it was kind of a flow-on effect. So I feel like at first it was okay, I was at rock bottom and I went, I don't know how much longer I can continue doing this without staff because my family is suffering. I'm suffering. I'm identifying as pure living. Pure living's a business. It's not me. Pure living is so much more. For me, I connected with Paul. And Paul really laid that out for me and told me that, something's got to give here, or the cracks you're just going to crack, and then everything's all over. And it was about when I was home, I didn't know how to kind of integrate back in home because I hadn't been home for 8 months. I didn't know what that looked like. So I didn't want to be there. My house had turned into like a bachelor pad. I had 3 boys and a husband, and I'm like, what? This isn't even my home. So I was looking for every excuse to get out of there when I was home because I wasn't used to it. So for me, one of the big things that Paul said was you need to force yourself to go and get ready for those date nights, once a week with your husband. You need to make time for that. And you need to set those non-negotiables around, what is it in your schedule that is 100% a non-negotiable, and make sure it happens. Like, no excuses, make sure it happens. And I think we've been able to put systems in place now with staffing, getting the business profitable, viable, so that I can actually do those things. So I am able to go and, fly to Queensland with my son and watch him do boxing, go to my son's soccer games. And they were my non-negotiables. We're getting my kids to training. My husband works in the RAF. He does long days. He's working on the business till 2 a.m. in the morning. We're just starting to change that now, which is amazing. So I think, lots of sacrifices have gone in, but it's about setting that schedule around your non-negotiables and what you won't budge with. Yes, the odd thing will come up, but this shouldn't be happening week in, week out. So I think, yeah, we're at a good point now where I am able to be present in the kids' life and do those school pickups and drop-offs, the things that actually make me feel like a mum, just cooking dinner for them, being home. It is sad when I'm doing it for other people and everyone else, but I'm not able to do it for my own family. Yeah, so we do have systems in place now. Yeah.
I hear you. And it's sort of weird because you've won this battle because you were very deliberate about winning this battle. And for a long time, even when you start taking those steps, you don't feel like you're winning the battle, do you? Like, how long did it take for you to turn that boat around a bit? Like, did it take a day? Did it take a week? Did it take like 3 months? How long did it take?
Look, I think it's still a continuous improvement. It's always something that I'm working on. There's always something else that I need to be working on, or a spanner gets thrown in the works. It's taken months, and I think this whole journey is a learning curve, and it will continue to be a learning curve, and trying also to learn to step back and allow other people to step in and actually take ownership of the work that they're doing. So the team leaders, the support workers, helping with, if they can't fill a shift, then they need to try and solve that problem themselves first without coming to me. So don't call me when the house runs out of bread. Things like that. I really felt like I needed to be there for every single person, but putting the right systems in place has certainly helped with that. But we are forever growing, changing, evolving, and I don't think that continuous improvement will ever stop.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's remarkable how much when we care about something, we think that as a leader, we should be caring that all 100 criteria are ticked off. Is there bread in the house? Is there 7 extra blue paper things in the cupboard? It's like all about those tick boxes. And if we don't have 100 things ticked off, we're not succeeding. Whereas as leaders, our goal is to make sure that there are systems in place so those 100 things are either ticked off, or at least the top 30 are, and the rest most of the time are. How did you go from it's all about Stevie Lee to it's about us as a team, we rise or fall together? How did you shift that so that people didn't have such a dependence on their key person?
I think it was going back to position descriptions and actually me allowing myself to take ownership that the place is not going to fall apart if I step away. So having a backup plan, making sure that there's always someone else that can take that phone call if someone does call. We do have a system of virtual assistants as well that also help with those phone calls and those little day-to-day things with the rostering, which takes it away from me. But I think, like, it's not easy. It's like I said, it's that continuous improvement. But I do think people being held accountable with their position description and what their actual role is. And we're still working on that, but it is happening. It's a work in progress. Coming from 100%, I want everything done 110%, sometimes 80% done is better than 100% me. No one, I think as a business owner, you strive to be, up here. And no one is going to love your business and be as invested in your business as the business owner. So sometimes just below that, that's okay. Not everyone's going to be perfect, and it's just a learning experience.
That's remarkably honest. I hear what you're saying. And
I think allowing people to make mistakes as well.
tell them about
Allow room for mistakes. So, yet it may not be my perfect, and I could be like, oh, I should have just jumped in and did that. Or that's why I don't let anybody, take over. But I think allowing people to make those mistakes and be able to learn from them, that's part of learning. So allowing that and being comfortable with that and letting workers know that it's okay to make mistakes, that we can improve on this.
And Stevie, if someone wants to find you on your website, how do they find your website?
So you just go to Google or type it in the search bar, purelivingaccommodation.com.au is how you'll find us.
Love it. I hope we see you on another podcast. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
See you later.